Hi guys, I know I'm in my bathroom, but that's because I have a roommate and I thought that it'd be awkward to make this video when she was sitting there. I know that it's nervous, that it's nerve-wracking about your coming out stories or whatever. But this is my coming out story. So when I was like 13, I had like this group of friends that I was really close with, that I've been friends with since I was like in 3rd grade, and we all like grew up going to each other's houses and all this stuff. And you know how everybody has that like experimental period where they like, oh, I wonder what it's like to kiss a girl, and like they just want to experiment stuff and see how it goes. Well, I'm not going to use her actual name, so we're just going to call her Sally. My best friend Sally was over, and we were looking, we were looking up things on the internet, and we went to, this is back when MySpace was cool and stuff. I'm turning 19 next month, and this was back when MySpace was cool and stuff, and we saw pictures of one of her cousins, and he is gay. We saw a picture of him and his boyfriend, and we kind of thought, I wonder what it's like to kiss a girl. So we went, and I had this like foam mattress that we had on my living room floor that we were sleeping on. We were watching TV, and I had this like 52-inch TV that was like big when I was little. Maybe it was 42-inch. I don't even know. It was just this big, one of those huge fucking, oops, wrong way. One of those huge box TV things. Like, yeah, one of the big TVs back then when I was little. It was big. And like, we were laying in bed watching a movie. I don't even remember what we were watching. And she kind of looks at me and she goes, Liz, can we try something? And I was like, sure. I'm a very open person, so I was like, yeah, what is it? And she's like, I want to know what it's like to kiss a girl. And I was like, I don't know, because like at school everybody was always talking about how being gay was wrong. My dad's a pastor. He's not against gay people. I'd never talked to him about it before. I'd never asked about it. I'd never really like thought about it, but I knew that it was a thing. I hadn't really thought about being gay or anything, and I was like, yeah, sure. So we kissed, and I remember thinking, oh, this is wrong, it doesn't feel right. And then we proceeded to do other things. We didn't have sex or anything, but like we tried a couple of things out and to see if we like liked it or not, like, you know, the whole boob feeling and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, this kind of feels weird, I think it's kind of wrong, and I didn't know. But then she came over a couple weeks later after that night, and I remember thinking to myself, we kissed, and I couldn't think about anything but that, and I was like, I kind of want to try it again. And I live on a farm, so we went to get the cows, and I asked her, I was like, can we try that again? And she was like, yeah. So like we made out, and it wasn't just a kiss this time, we actually made out, and I was like, I think I might like this. But then this was a point in time where like I had this biggest crush on one of the boys in my class. But then like I didn't find him like attractive, so I didn't know what I liked about him. I was kind of confused, so I didn't really know what to think. And I didn't find her, it's not that I didn't think she was pretty, but like I didn't think I liked her because she was pretty. Like I didn't think it was her features or anything, and I knew that I didn't like him because of his features. And then like I kind of pondered this. I was 13 then, and I kind of pondered this for the next couple of years, and I didn't know, like I didn't know if I was gay, I didn't know if I was straight, I didn't know if I was bi, I didn't know like what I was. And then like, because everybody's like, oh, you're bi, you like girls, you like boys, blah blah blah. And then finally I was on Tumblr one day, and there was this post about transgender and drag queens and bis and gays and pansexuals. And I'd never heard the term pansexual ever in my life used. So I Googled it, and it was like gender blind. And I was like, what does that mean? And I was kind of confused. I had no idea what that meant whatsoever. So I kind of Googled it, and I read up about it on Google, and it said you fall for personality, and then it clicked. As soon as I read it, I thought, that's what it is. That's why I like them. Because Sally, as I said, I wasn't going to use her real name, Sally, we had so much in common, and I found that, like, I liked her, and I was like, oh, personality, I love her because of her personality, like, that's why we're really good friends, and that's why I started to have feelings for her. But I kind of, like, pushed it to the back of my mind because I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want to ruin our friendship and stuff. And then the boy that I liked at the time, I was like, I don't know, like, he's got a pretty face, like, I don't know how to explain it. He's got a pretty face, but I don't think that's what I like about him. I think, personally, my opinion is everybody's beautiful, so, like, it doesn't bother me what they look like. It's all about personality to me, because I am pansexual. I finally came to realize that I was pansexual and that I didn't go by looks. And then everybody's like, well, you like both guys and girls, so you're bisexual. And that irritates me. Like, I can't put a label on somebody. Like, you can't do that to somebody because, honestly, there's a difference. Everybody tells me they're the same thing, and everybody's like, so you're basically bi. And I'm like, that's just like saying if you like dick, you like poles. No, I'm sorry. It's not. And that's really irritating to me that they say that. So I was 15 when I figured out what I was. And then 16, I was in 11th grade. And I hadn't told any of my friends. I hadn't done anything about it. I figured it out when I was 15, and when I turned 16, I didn't say anything about it. I just kept it in the back of my mind because I didn't think my friends would be there for me. One of my best friends in 11th grade was bisexual, and she's the type of person that would, like, throw it in your face and remind you about it. And, like, one of my best friends was gay, and I fully supported him, and people would pick on him, and I'd yell at them, and I'd tell them that I don't pick on them for things that they're insecure about. Like, I know it is such a double standard that people have to, like, come out of the closet, so to speak, and straight people don't have to be like, oh, I'm straight, and gay people have to be like, oh, well, mom, dad, I'm gay. Senior year, I helped one of my friends get a girlfriend, and she was happy with the girl that I introduced her to, and then they broke up, and she came over the night of my graduation, which was the night before my graduation party, and I told her. She was the first person I told. And I admitted that I had a crush on her, and we had both just broken up with people, so we were both still hurting, but we did kiss, and then we cuddled all night, and that was the closest that I've ever felt to anybody that night. And the next day is actually the day I told my mom. It was me and my friend sitting in the camper with my mother, and my mother was on the computer, and I was like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, you know Sarah's gay. And she's like, yeah. Ooh. Sorry. I won't say her last name. And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, I gotta tell you something. And she's like, what? And I was like, I'm pansexual. And she goes, what does that mean? And I was like, you need to Google it. And she's like, why? And I was like, because I don't feel like this is something that we should talk in detail about right now because I have a friend over. And she's like, okay. So she Googled it, and she told me that she was okay with it, and I asked her, I was like, Mom, are we okay? And she's like, yeah, I love you, nothing's gonna change that, whoever makes you happy makes you happy. And I was like, thank you. And then I was like, don't tell Dad, I want to tell him myself. But she actually told my dad, and he's a pastor, so I was kind of worried about what he was going to say. I wasn't sure if he was going to disown me or something, because I didn't know how he was going to feel about having a not straight daughter. Because my other two sisters are married. Ooh, one of them's married. The other one, I don't even know. And I didn't know what he was going to say. And my mom came in the next day after Sarah had left and told me that she told my dad. And I asked what he said, and she said, and I quote, he said that his daughter is very smart and she will figure it out and do whatever makes her happy, and that he loved me. And I sat there and cried because I was so relieved. Oh, I'm tearing up. I was so relieved that my dad didn't even think about it. Like, he didn't say, oh, my daughter's gross. Because I know so many people's parents that, I know some of my friends' parents that are gay aren't for it. They're anti-gay people, and it sucks. But I was so thankful that my dad was not one of them, and that he, being a pastor, accepted that I could end up marrying a guy or a girl. And I think when I really came out to all of my friends, like, because I told Sarah and my mom and dad first, and then when I told all of my friends, my best friend Lizzie told me that she knew that I wasn't straight. She's like, I couldn't tell you why I knew, I just knew. And I was like, oh, thanks, I guess. And then not last summer, but the summer before, after I graduated, because I'm a sophomore in college now, I had a thing with a girl because she was the sweetest person I've ever met in my life, and one of the funniest people, and she just was a doll, and I fell for her, and she just made me smile. She was perfect, and we had a thing. We were really close for about 4 or 5 months, and then I came to college, and we didn't really talk anymore, and whenever she needed something, I was always there for her. And she had an abusive girlfriend, and I really felt bad for her, so like I would call her and stick up for her when she needed it. And I'm still here for her all the time. Like, I'll text her or Snapchat her and ask her how she's doing. She has a girlfriend now. I'm very proud of her. They're adorable together. And people always ask me, do you prefer guys or girls? Honestly, I don't care. I have no discrimination. And another thing is, body parts don't affect me. Like, I don't care. It's whoever I'm with, and whoever makes me happy makes me happy. And everybody tells me, well, that's wrong, because everybody prefers one gender over the other, and I'm here to tell you that they don't. It's not true. But yeah, that's my coming out story. And I have very accepting friends. They all accept me. Like, I wasn't sure last year that my roommates were going to accept me, and I had a gay pride poster, and one of them confronted me about it last year. She's like, are you a lesbian? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, then you're straight. And I was like, no. And then she was like, then what are you? And I told her what I was, and she was kind of freaked out at first because she didn't want me to fall for her. And I was like, just because I like either or, and I just fall for personality, doesn't mean I'm gonna fall for you. And she was like, oh, and she just got really freaked out and stuff, and I ended up moving out of that. room anyway, so it didn't matter. But like when people ask me if I'm gay, straight, bi, I'm like, nope, I'm none of those. And they're like, then what are you? I'm like, I'm just Liz. That's all I am. It doesn't change who I am. I'm just me. I am the social butterfly that doesn't care, that just talks to everybody. I like everybody. So, if any of you guys need to talk ever about it, like if you guys haven't told anybody about anything, or if you have any questions or whatever, I'm here to talk. I mean, I'm not shy whatsoever. This video was kind of hard to make though, because coming out online and like everybody sees it if it's online and it goes viral. And not that I only have like 7 subscribers, so I'm not expecting more than like 6 people to see this or whatever. But I just felt like I could maybe help somebody that was confused about it.